Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to our next, a new stream, the latest stream. I'm not sure. We sort of. I usually say what number we're on, but I think I've forgotten how many we've done now. We've been doing this quite a while. So anyone in the chat, if you are watching, if you can let us know if the sound's okay, background music, that sort of stuff. So tonight we've got Laura Jett, Illustrator. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a illustrator based in Wales, well, Wrexham. I'm actually from England. I do watercolor illustrations, realistic watercolor illustrations based on everything really, mainly like nature inspired. Lots of animals, lots of landscapes.
Cool. Whereabouts in England are you from?
I'm from Chester.
Chester.
Yeah.
Oh, so not a million miles away from where we are.
No, I was born and raised in Blacon, so.
Oh, okay. Cool. So what we're gonna do, we'll get rid of my face now. Jump into the share screen. We'll check out your Instagram and maybe talk a little bit about what work you've done recently. There we go.
Do you want me to start painting now?
No. We're gonna switch screens. I'm just gonna do it manually because I think I've forgotten which button to press. There you go. So on this screen, what we'll do is check out your Instagram first. So in the bottom corner there, we've got your Instagram open. So start off with the dog. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this one?
Well, I'm working on a sort of ongoing series of dog portraits because for years I've been doing commissions for people, like pet portrait commissions. And then I realised I didn't have my own sort of prints to sell that were just random sort of dogs. So I'm trying to build up a big sort of pile of illustrations that I can sell at events, basically for portraits for people.
Okay.
So that's the dog that I painted for that.
And is that watercolour as well?
It is.
Okay.
And this is. Sorry?
Go on. This Conway Castle?
Yeah, that's a project I'm just finishing up for university, based on Conway Castle. So I went there myself and I took a lot of reference pictures. And I just wanted to sort of like grasp the atmosphere, and I wanted to do a series of pictures that were more from someone walking around the grounds as opposed to like the traditional sort of far away of the entire castle.
It's a really good idea. It's kind of unique, isn't it? It's
personal.
You don't see that very often. Yeah, absolutely personal. I like that. Okay, let's see what. Is that and that's more from Conway Castle and.
Yeah, that's the other one I've done. I've only done 2 so far.
I mean, we can see on the camera, and we've seen you in your workspace a second ago. You seem to have got a really nice setup. That you've got this window that's got really nice sort of natural light coming in your workspace.
Right, yeah. Except for right now when it's right in my eyes, but that's only.
Yeah, it's blinding your face.
Yeah.
Good.
That's just a portrait I've done for my website and my business cards.
So is all your work watercolor?
Yeah. Oh, that was a logo I was commissioned recently.
Oh, okay.
That was actually in ink.
Oh.
No, I literally just said I
no, do watercolor. Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's good to change things up now and again, though, isn't it? It's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that much different from each other.
Yeah. No, I mean, like looking at it, I mean, obviously now you said it's ink, but I mean, I suppose you could say there's elements of same practice of watercolor in there.
Yeah. That's another one for the dog.
There you go. So you're asking people what breed you should paint next?
Yeah.
They're really good. Really good.
Specifically like the husky, he's very cute.
Because I've noticed on your Instagram you do a lot of celebrities as well. I've noticed that.
Yeah, a bit
Oscar
of a fan.
Wilde. You're a bit of a what, sorry?
Fangirl sometimes.
Okay. So this is quite nice as well that you've done that. You put your paintings into an image that shows where people could put them, I suppose.
Just to give you an effect of like how it would affect the room with like a colour palette as well.
It's really effective as well, especially when it comes to sort of selling artwork. There we go.
So I did a series not long ago of like sea creatures, and they were all really vibrant, so I could play around with colour.
So where's that? Is that Etsy?
Yes.
So if people wanted to buy these, is that Etsy link still? Is that in your bio? Where could we get that from?
It's on the link in my Instagram bio, but if you just search Laura J Illustration on Etsy, it should come up as well.
All right, okay.
Got loads of different sizes and stuff. So
That one there, it's really, really vibrant, isn't it? It's really nice.
Yeah.
Really good.
I mean, the colours I use lately are a bit more muted, I'd say. But I really wanted to play around the colour for that specific project. That's why they're all quite like vibrant.
Well, we've got a comment in the chat from I'm not great at saying this. Escape for Dane. I apologise if I've said that wrong. And that's Rebecca. Obviously, we spoke to Rebecca when we first did the live streams, and she's put there, "You should paint a Great Dane." Hint, hint.
I might do.
There you go. Sure, it's just Scooby Doo.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, the sea creatures are really vibrant, really, really good, and it's so effective the way that you've painted these objects as well. You know, it's some really cool stuff. So we'll probably, as we get on through the chat, I'll ask you questions about what sort of paintbrushes and stuff you use for people who were looking to get started with watercolors and things like that. So, I'm going to skip down because I've spotted a few before when I was looking through of your celebrity stuff.
All right.
So, because I really like Beetlejuice. And I think when we first started the Art Design Wales Instagram, I think there's a couple of your images on there as well, isn't there, that we posted quite early on from like level 5.
Yeah.
Can't remember now which ones they are, but they were sort of. I'm sure one of them was David Barry. Yeah, that's the one. These ones. Yeah.
Oh, I cringe looking at these now. They're so overworked. Like.
Well, this is it, and it's kind of seeing your progress as you go through an Instagram account.
Yeah.
It's really good to see like the sort of how you've progressed over your time at university and through your painting career, I suppose. All right, so we'll come back to your Instagram probably later on, just at the end of the stream. So what are you gonna paint for us today?
Well, I have a lovely little dog, sausage dog. Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful autumn colours. So I'm going to do that now. If you're ready, do you want me to do it now?
Yeah. If you make a start. Yeah. So what have you done so far to get to this point on the sheet of paper?
Basically, hold on. Tablet's been. So I just sketched it out. Usually I work a lot bigger than this, but yeah, for this one I thought I'd just make things a bit easier because it's kind of harder to film, isn't it, when it's bigger? So I just kept it small. But yeah, I like working bigger because I can get like loose brush strokes and stuff. But I would have had to stretch the paper if I'd have done it that way as well. Whereas if it's like this, it's a bit simpler. And I've been using like a better quality paper lately I don't have to stretch on small pieces. So I've just sketched it out, and then I've put some masking fluid on the places I want to retain the highlights.
What's masking fluid?
This is the one I use.
Okay.
Well, with watercolors, for the highlights, you don't want to paint them in over. You want to basically want to use the color of the paper for the highlights. So I've just masked bits around its eyes and like where I want the sort of white bits to be around its fur to retain the highlights.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that stops the paint from sticking to those areas.
Yeah, and I just peel it off at the end.
Okay.
So it might not look that good throughout the progress, but at the end it'll look really good.
Okay. So what paints are you using? If you want to tell us a bit about the paint.
Usually I use a Kuretake paint palette. This looks really messy right now. So I'll be using a mixture of them and also, sorry, my cat's being really noisy. also these paints here. So Aquafine's Light Red, I love this colour. Sepia by Cotman, Winsor & Newton, and De La Rowney, Yellow Ochre as well.
Okay.
So they're what I'll be using. As well as the Kuretake palette. I usually prefer a palette because the pigments are just stronger than in a tube. So I recommend that over a tube paint.
But buying yourself a good, if you want to start off doing watercolours, it's best that you buy yourself a good palette.
Yeah, I would recommend a palette.
What does something like that cost? Are they quite expensive?
They can be. It depends what sort of size you get. I think mine was actually a present, but I think they're about £30 to £50. But there's quite a lot of paints, and that's lasted me a year and a half, and I'm only like halfway through it.
Yeah, because we've seen over the last couple of weeks a complete spectrum of, from fine art to illustration, about the different sort of paints and brushes that people use. Yeah. We've seen some people use pound shop paints, and now we've seen you use palettes that are more expensive. But I think would you say it's more horses for courses? I always say that, it's using the right thing for the right project, I suppose.
Yeah, it depends what sort of work you do, I suppose. I think with paints you do have to put a little bit of money into it though, because pound shop paints are just like, you go through them faster than, do you know what I mean? Like you end up spending the same amount of money because of how fast you go through them, because they're just not very limited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can move your screen up a little bit.
Also, if you're starting out with watercolours, I can't recommend enough a good kitchen paper. Because that's a good way to bring out the highlights as well.
Just soaking up the paint.
Yeah, pretty much just dabbing at it.
Mm-hmm. So watercolours, it's not something I've ever done watercolours or used. So it's kind of, this is completely sort of alien to me.
Oh yeah. Usually it's the other way around, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Usually people don't really do digital stuff that much, I feel like. Actually, not on our course.
Yeah, it's kind of, I suppose that's the area I come from, is the digital side of things. Yeah. So looking at traditional stuff is a lot different. I've learned, this entire Twitch stream is just me learning stuff. So K. Smith Illustrations, how quickly would it take you to normally finish something like this?
Probably about an hour, maybe a little bit longer.
Okay. So we might have to stretch it out, considering the stream's like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, and you've actually nicked one of my questions. I'm gonna have to cross that off my question list now. So,
sorry.
So from that was, we talked about that, didn't we, before the stream? How long does something like this take you to do? So this particular.
Your questions. I thought you meant I did.
No, it was someone in the chat. Absolutely not. I don't, because I'd rather people ask questions in the chat, because then you get any answers that you want. So I have got a list of questions, but I would rather take questions from the chat. So do feel free to sort of throw questions in. I was just joking before. So yeah, because just looking at the way you work is completely different to the way you might do it digitally, I suppose, in terms of building up a base colour first and then.
And I love the way it all bleeds together. That's like one of my favourite parts, using watercolours. You can really like manipulate it.
So you said that you've upgraded your paper recently.
Yes.
Was that because, obviously you're putting a lot of water into that? Does it make a huge difference, a better quality paper?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, one of my main struggles I had was because of my paper, and I didn't even realise it for years. Could you think just buying like ones from like generic art shops would be great?
Yeah.
But no. as a professional, you need to have 100% watercolor paper because it's like 100% cotton, 300 weight, 300 GSM weight. Because otherwise, it just warps too much and it's horrendous. You're just fighting it the whole time. But it's so much more expensive buying really good watercolor paper. They send you in like massive sheets and then you cut it down, and it depends. Like usually it's about £5 or £6 for a big sheet.
Right. Okay. What size is that? Is that like an A1 or something, or?
Yeah, pretty big. Probably about A2, I think.
Okay. And then what do you use to cut that down? Just a pair of scissors, or you've got a guillotine, or?
So I use a Stanley knife and a metal ruler.
Okay.
Because if it won't fit through a guillotine. I haven't got a guillotine big enough.
Yeah.
I'd love to have one that size, but right now that's like not an option. And a lot of people will argue, a lot of artists will argue that you can actually be more precise cutting it by hand.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I remember years ago when we used to do mount boards and stuff, it was kind of all done with a scalpel and a steel ruler.
Oh, it's such a nightmare though. It took me ages to get it right. It's like really tricky.
So we've got Brinkhill AI. Sorry if I said your name wrong. What do you charge on average for a commission, like the piece you're doing now?
It really depends. I mean, for this, it would probably be about, for the original piece itself, probably about £50, £40 or £50.
Okay.
I think at the moment I'm charging £40 for A4 and £60 for A3.
Okay. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, even that's for the amount of time and effort and skill that's going into these, that's relatively cheap.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, I've just updated my prices and I can't remember the exact amount. It depends like how many like dogs there are in a portrait, or how many people are in a portrait or whatever as well.
Yeah. Because that's significantly going to increase your time and obviously paints and everything else that comes into that as well.
Yeah. So expensive.
So if someone wanted to buy something like this from you, how would they get in touch with you?
Just through Instagram or Facebook. I do have my email address up on my Instagram, I think, as well. Yeah, just any of them. Email me, message me.
And your Instagram's at the top of the page there. So if anyone's interested, it's Laura. I can't even see your name now. Laura G Illustrations, or illustration, not with no S on the end.
Yeah.
And we've got.
The website has an S on the end, but everything else doesn't have the S.
Okay, so just the website.
Just to confuse you.
So Ellie Smelly 420. How do you leave the paper to dry once you're done? I usually struggle to keep the paper from warping because of the water.
Well, I try not to use loads of water, but that can be a bit of an. That's always a challenge. What I'll usually do is I'll let it dry and then I will flatten it afterwards if it does warp too much.
Okay.
So I'll cover it in, and then I've got a big board that I also use to stretch paper usually, and I'll put that over it, and then I'll put like loads of heavy books on it. Oh, my cat's joining me now.
There you go. People always like the cats and the dogs that join in.
He likes to be involved.
So when you keep saying, when you said about stretching paper, what do you mean by stretching paper?
I usually soak it in the bath, not for too long, just a few minutes. And then I will take it out and hold it by a corner to let the water drip till most of it's off. And then I'll put it onto a big board of like plywood. And then I will sort of dab around the edges using just a paper towel. And then I use gum tape that you wet with a sponge, but a sponge that's not too wet.
Okay.
And then tape around the edges. And then I'll just leave it to dry. And then the paper's sort of stretched into place because obviously when it's wet, it stretches.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and then I just leave it to dry. And I'll do the sketch beforehand as well. Just.
So the sketch is done before it goes in the bath?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because otherwise it will ruin the paper. With pencil, will just ruin the paper.
Ah, okay. Because it. Very good. It's really interesting. Golden Guy 9 put that's really good. The thumbs up.
Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about your journey so far. So, your current students at Wrexham Glyndŵr University, how did you find out about the course?
I think I just looked online. Yeah, I think I just found it online on Facebook.
Just like a Google search?
Yeah.
Facebook.
And I kept getting adverts because I was like obsessively watching YouTube videos of other illustrators painting.
Okay. So it's something that you've always been interested in?
Yeah.
You're just trying to get into it and you found that?
Yeah, well actually, I wouldn't say I've always been like, I want to be an illustrator. I actually wanted to work with children when I was younger.
Okay.
That didn't really work out. And then, God, it was years ago, when I was about 16, so about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Even longer than that, actually. I started just watching people on YouTube painting, and then that's how I kind of got involved. Yeah.
And then that's what made you apply for university, is thinking you could turn this into a career?
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay. Well, you've definitely got the skill and what you're doing is on the right path to getting that career. Because this is your final year now, isn't it? You're off soon, aren't you? Literally all classes are finished and you're just waiting for your results.
I think I've still got like one deadline, but that's it.
That's Thursday, isn't it? It's my deadline.
It is.
So we've got Christy Lott. I think Christy says hi in the chat.
Christy.
And we've also so what have been the highlights of studying at the university?
Got to meet lots of lovely people.
Yeah.
Lots of very friendly people.
Some who are in the chat.
Yeah, some of them are in the chat. Yeah. My tutor's amazing. She's been just such a help. Like I would. People say like there's no point going to university for art, but I completely disagree after my experience, because I would not be at the place I am now if I hadn't have gone to university. Like it would have took me years to get to the point I am now. Like with my knowledge, I've learned so much. Unfortunately, like a lot of our course has been online for the past sort of year and a half because of the COVID though. But like when you're actually in the studio with everyone, it's great because you get to really like see what everyone else is doing and kind of inspiring each other as well, and like helping each other out. Which we've still been doing through chat, but it's not the same as actually like being there. But that was a real highlight when we were all sat in the same room, like making artwork as well.
Yeah, it's such a nice space, the illustration rooms though, and you know, it's an old Crimean war hospital, and you're basically in one of the old wards, and it's all like massive glass windows with skylights, kind of reminiscent of where you're working right now.
Yeah.
And it's such a good space for natural light and drawing, and you all get your own desk.
Yeah, what I loved about it, I was just about to say, is we had like boards around our desks that we were encouraged to decorate, and that was really good as well, because then you had all like the images of people who inspire you and your own work up as well. So you're constantly being reminded of like what you enjoy, basically, and what inspires you.
There's not many places that offer that.
I really like that about
desk and stuff. It's been a bit weird this year not being in those spaces.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really strange. But when we go back, obviously you won't see that because you'll be out in the big wide world, getting employed and becoming a famous artist, watercolor illustrator. We'll have a brand new sort of front entrance to the building with a gallery space.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Which, I mean, you know, we there's always space, isn't there, for gallery exhibitions and stuff. And I think some watercolor paintings would look very nice in the new gallery. So I'm sure they'll invite you back to showcase some of your work. And that goes for all our students, I think. It's something that we're looking into at the moment is doing an exhibition once we can get back out into the big wide world.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
So in the chat we got Christy. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, Chris. Fellow WGU staff member here, come to support. And Shagsy 101's put, why am I always reminded of Quentin Blake when I see watercolours like this? Don't know, misspent youth maybe? Reading Roald Dahl books?
Oh, I love Roald Dahl.
or now David Williams.
Yeah, David Williams now, isn't it? Yeah.
And also maybe an artist in residence of the future. That's what you could be, I suppose.
Who, me?
There's always spots for artist in residence.
Yeah, I'd love to do something like that. Really interested. I don't know how you'd go about applying for that though.
You'd need to speak to your program leader, and they would put something in place for you. So, I mean, you said you wanted to work with kids before, and then that sort of ended. Was that abruptly, or was that there's a reason for that? I don't know if I should ask that question, but
what happened was I wanted to work with kids. Then I worked with kids for 2 years, and then I didn't want to work with kids anymore. And also, I remember just sitting in my childcare room when we were teaching, and I'd just be there drawing all the time. And then everyone would be like, why are you here if you're just drawing all the time? And also when I was working with kids, I'd be sitting there drawing all the time.
So there you go. Maybe there's a future there in sort of drawing with kids.
Yeah, they'd all be asking me to draw My Little Pony, and I'd drawn like hundreds of My Little Ponies for them to colour in.
So I think I've been saying a person's name wrong in the chat. They've actually put it's Christy Lowe. There you go. So Christy Lowe. The person I think the person I couldn't say the name of. I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible with names, and I do apologise to anybody watching if I do get your name wrong. Unfortunately, the ADHD brain doesn't allow some names to sort of process properly.
It's hard.
And dyslexia. The Twitch has made it really hard for dyslexic people to participate in chats.
Yeah. To be fair, I haven't even got an excuse. I can't say people's names either.
So, how have you found studying in Wales then? So, you come over from. I say come over. You come all the way over from Chester. How have you found studying in Wales?
I love Wales. I really do. Yeah. I used to come here on holiday a lot when I was younger and stuff, so I'm quite familiar with it. Not Wrexham specifically, obviously, but yeah, I would come to Wrexham a lot as well. I don't know if it's much different from studying in England, but I don't know. I feel like there's more of a community here, community spirit in like the actual town. Like I've sort of made a lot of contacts just through like people I know and with different people who work in galleries or different creatives like photographers. I've made a few photographer friends through the uni and also just through sort of people I know, meeting people out and about. And there's a lot of like little independent gallery spaces and studio spaces that are being set up currently in Wrexham, and then the Enterprise Hub as well, and they just provide a lot of support for people around here, like artists specifically.
Yeah, I mean the Wrexham itself it's kind of one of them. It's a town. It's the biggest town in North Wales, but there's so many art spaces, such a big art community within such a small space, and the amount of galleries. I mean, they've started numbering them. There's that many, and then we've also got surrounding galleries as well. I think there's plans for Indigene to move as well to a new space. And you've got T-Power as well, which is another art gallery within town.
Yeah, Twig as well. I think they're moving now as well, I think.
Christy Lowe has put in a chat, the painting looks great. I love doing watercolour. And they also put no worries, I am the same when streaming. If you've got a streaming channel, we're happy to support. Sort of fire a link in the chat by all means. People can jump over and check you out as well. So happy to share that.
Yeah, I've started doing like vlogging on YouTube, but I've only got like a couple of videos up at the moment because I've just been so busy with finishing up my uni stuff.
This is something that, I mean, the Twitch stream is something I've been banging on about now for weeks, and anybody who will listen to me in the lessons as well, trying to get. I must have a link on blocker because I've just blocked Christy for 120 seconds. I will try and take that off and let you do that. Nice, 9 messages deleted. Sorry. I do apologise. That's probably because you tried to share a link. If you put your username in, I will try. I'll try and get you to share your details there. So bear with me a second. I've blocked somebody. It's not good. Nice little advert playing in my head then.
What, from the music?
No, I've tried to get this link up so that we could. I've just gone and said about you sharing a link, and I think it's got a block thing on it. So I think this is the link they were trying to share that I'm just trying to push out now. So there you go. So that link shared for you. There you go. So hopefully when the 120 seconds is up and you have been timed out, your link has been shared. So if anybody is watching, then feel free to head over and hit them up with a follow. Let's close that down. Okay, so what made you get into? We talked about sort of your YouTube videos and things like that, and I said to you about, I've been banging on about Twitch for ages, in terms of getting your work out there. So is this something that you would consider doing, Twitch streams or live streaming your work, things like that?
Yeah, I would enjoy that. It's more just finding the time. I think after this week, so obviously with the deadlines and stuff, I would like to start doing it regularly. That would be interesting, yeah.
Because there's quite a few people doing watercolors on Twitch in the art section, and they do get quite a lot of followers. There's one that this is a person that we've raided a couple of times over the last few weeks. She's doing this watercolor skull at the moment. It's taken her a while to do it, but she's she does some fantastic stuff, and she gets about 70-80 viewers every time she goes on. So it's definitely worth considering, especially when you think there's an income to be made out of streaming as well.
Yeah, that's what always worries me, is the fact I'm just going to be sat there on my own.
We've got to.
No one watching.
You've got to really sort of work on your social media as well, and try and get people to sort of and share the love as well, because you've got to, by people raiding you raiding people and sharing links and stuff like that. It helps everyone sort of boost it, like sort of. So we've got a few things in the chat. You've got Kiss My Artichokes put, hello, are you painting your own dog or a commission?
Neither. I'm painting a series for prints that I'm going to make to sell at events. Because I like to go to dog events to sell illustrations of dogs.
Okay.
So for people to buy, these are all going to be available in my shop as well. But yeah, I do usually do a lot of dog commissions. I didn't feel comfortable doing one live though, in case, I don't know. Actually, I haven't got one. Yeah, it's a bit personal, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes, yeah. I think if you get the permission of the person that you're doing it for.
Yeah, I always ask permission to put their pictures on my social media, but I felt it weird, like doing it for this.
Well, I suppose when you think about it, it could potentially make it more special for that person, actually seeing the process and what goes into it, and how it started off.
Presents for people as well. That's another issue I have. Like a lot of the time, I can't post something online straight away because it'll be for a birthday or something. So. Yeah,
that's the other one as well, isn't it? If they bought it for like a present.
Yeah, if it's a surprise, I can't really put a video up of me painting it.
I suppose
you'd have that's my dog.
Yeah, you definitely have to sort of check it out in terms of check what they say. I mean, and if you get commissions from people off Twitch and whatever else, you get that quite a bit. People suggesting what you paint and then put that on your Etsy and people will buy it instead.
Yeah. I love dogs.
So Christy Lowe's put, I mainly stream games, however I also do art. I hope to start stream painting. when I finish my assignment. There you go. And LinkedIn as well. We now have LinkedIn Learning at the university, which you can subscribe to, which is free courses for staff, students, including art, Adobe Illustrator, etc. And they've put, I work in digital learning, so a little plug there. So yeah, I mean, university has recently just invested in LinkedIn Learning, so I posted it on our Discord. Students can actually just go in and set themselves some learning plans over the summer, which has been really good. I've certainly promoted it with the animators, saying, get them to do some summer projects. We're looking at doing like TikTok animations, short 60-second 2D, 3D animations. And LinkedIn Learning is going to support that, I suppose, over the summer as well, which is really good.
Wow.
So they put thank you, no problem. And Kiss My Choke, no one can resist the cute doggos, haha.
Exactly.
And then Christy Lowe's put, you can pick them up and put them down as you please. I'm not sure if that's about the dogs or the LinkedIn Learning courses. So that works for both.
I for both, yeah.
Yeah. Well, unless it's like a Great Dane or a Saint Bernard or something, or what's the other one? Newfoundland Terrier. My sister's got a Newfoundland Terrier. That thing's a beast.
Oh.
It's like a little bear walking around.
It wouldn't stop me from trying to pick them up.
Oh, I don't know. That thing would certainly crush you. And its name's Pixie as well.
Oh.
So, I mean, we talked it before the live stream, and you said you started off wanting to do comics.
Yes.
So what went wrong?
Well,
what went right?
I was actually open to comics and illustration.
Okay.
But even when I went in for my interview, I had just sketchbooks full of random images. My strong suit is not storytelling or creating a narrative in the comic sense.
Mm-hmm.
My strong suit's just recreating images, but better kind of thing, like life drawing, but then I don't know what I'm
Yeah, it's almost telling a story through a static image, a single image.
Better.
Yeah. More character, more life, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Capturing the character and stuff.
Absolutely. Because I think that's a skill in itself. It's taking that picture of the dog or the actual dog itself, and then capturing its essence, its life, if you like, on the page.
Yeah, because the amount of illustrators you see that'll draw a dog and it doesn't capture who the dog is.
I mean, yeah.
Sounds really mean. I don't mean that really. What was that? Sorry.
It's about putting personality into it as well. So I've got your Instagram open on my other screen, and it's kind of, you've got mouse, cats, and like a vulture as well, and it's kind of, even though they're on a white background, they really stand out off the page, and it's they've got the cat's definitely got attitude. So really good stuff.
That the one I did with my cat, the grey one.
Yeah, I'll stick it on the screen. You can see it.
Because she's definitely got attitude. Oh, the panther, yeah. That was for a series of stickers I made last year.
Okay.
Gothimals they were called because they were all goth animals.
Oh, is that the vulture as well?
No, not the vulture. They were all black and white.
Right, okay.
I think there was 6 altogether, just gothic animals.
Are they all in the same posts?
Not sure. I think they're in a separate post altogether earlier on, maybe. Oh, the bat was as well. Yeah.
That's cool. That. So have you still got the stickers? Are they still being sold? Is that something that you're going to continue doing?
I think I'm going to put them back on there because they were really popular, actually. I don't know why I took them off. I think I just ran out of the ones I printed, and then I'm probably going to print some more of those because they were popular.
So, comic books. Do you remember the first comic book you read?
I don't remember the first one I read because I've always sort of had them around. But I remember the first one I loved because I really struggled to get into the format of reading them in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I love Sandman by Neil Gaiman, and I just
Okay.
pushed it on everyone that I know.
He's a fantastic writer, though.
He is. I've read pretty much everything he's written in book form and
Yeah.
most of his comics.
Yeah, I preferred the book to is it Good Omens?
Oh yeah.
I preferred the book to the TV show, but the TV show was really good as well.
It was good, but the end, I wasn't happy with the ending, but it was good.
And there's one I want to read that I haven't done yet. Is it the Greek Norse mythology?
I know you were going to say that.
I don't know.
I was like, he's going to say the Norse mythology one, isn't he?
That's the one I want to read that I haven't.
It wasn't what I expected it to be.
And
like I thought it was going to be like a fictional story.
And it's like, well, is it factual?
Well, it's not factual, but you know what I mean.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like kind of.
It's just it's not like his normal books. I thought he was going to make the characters his own, but he just kind of retells story like Norse mythology, basically.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is good, but it's not what I was expecting it to be.
See, one of my favourite things he's done is Coraline.
Me too.
And after that, obviously,
so much.
You know, obviously teaching animation stuff. I would say Coraline is probably one of my favourite animations.
It's just so well done in every way.
Absolutely.
Every way, yeah.
Absolutely. That the studio that sort of made it as well. You know, they are good storytellers. They're really good at doing what they do.
Yeah. And it's so unnerving, like the way it's done, the music and just everything. Is it stop motion?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. If you look at any of the making of videos of it, and they've just got briefcases just full, or cases just full of faces.
Wow.
Loads and loads of faces. And then the sets, when you think about the sets and stuff like that, are just absolutely magical how they just bring it together. It's really good. And his stories are obviously really good as well. So, you know, if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have a good animation as well.
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for stop motion animators because I would not have the patience to do that.
Yeah, me too. My thing is 3D animation, so it's kind of similar to stop motion in the sense that you animate, and then you can animate in blocks, and then you go back over it bit by bit.
Right.
Whereas with stop motion, it's kind of there's a lot of straight ahead animation, so you know it can go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas at least with 3D, you can do
it's still time.
You can do pose to pose animation, which is for the control freaks out there. Pose to pose is a lot nicer.
All right.
Well, you just know where it's going to end up because you put the start pose in, the end pose, and then you do all the in betweens after. Mm-hmm. Whereas stop motion, you can't do that. It's more difficult, but it takes a lot of patience.
Yeah, all kinds of animations take a lot of patience. I made a GIF before, literally earlier on today, and I painted each frame myself.
Mm-hmm. How many frames was it?
Not many. It was a bird.
Okay.
So.
There you go.
And that took some time, just painting each frame for that.
And does it work? Does it animate? Yeah.
It does. I think I might have been missing a frame between the bird being here and the bird being on the branch. And there's a little bit of a jump there.
Yeah, absolutely. Put it back on the screen.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you might even need two, but it's kind of the wings need to come down, don't they, before it lands on the branch. Just kind of, it's almost like I'm waving my arms about now, and you can't even see me on the camera. This is kind of what happens in my classes. I start waving my arms about, and they're not even on screen. But yeah, it's kind of tucking the wings in before it lands.
Yeah, but I struggled to picture it in my head, so I had to get an image of the bird in each of the poses.
Yeah.
But then there wasn't one of it actually in the landing position, and my brain doesn't work like that. I need a reference image for everything I do.
And it's exactly how animators work. It's they'll film themselves, they'll act it out. There's no end of YouTube videos where the animators are acting out what they're doing, or they'll use the voice actors. The other one is Edward Muybridge, a photographer who I don't know if you've ever seen his book. from like the 1800s. He was like,
Oh yeah, and he
Yeah.
has a film of like people running and
that's
stuff.
it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know what you mean. I've
People
seen it.
still use that as reference now.
That's what I was gonna
Very-
search for this because I wanted to make a GIF for my website.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't remember what the bloke's name was.
Well, there you go, Edward Muybridge, or if his proper name is like Ed Weird Muybridge. Changed it to Edward. I think. But yeah. So, and you've also started off the great debate: is it a GIF? Is it a GIF?
I have this argument so much with my partner, and
So the great GIF debate. We spark these conversations in these live streams. We've had the great tea and coffee debate.
what, like tea over coffee?
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be no doubt further conversations when it comes to open days and stuff. Where we talk about who puts the milk in first and who puts the tea bag in first.
Wrong
Right,
and that's
absolute wrong.
true.
See, and then do you put your milk in first for your coffee or second?
First for coffee.
See, now that's incorrect as well. You should never put milk in coffee.
You're gonna burn it otherwise, and then you'll have burnt coffee.
No, if not, if you brew it correctly and you just drink it black. There we go. We've got Scafer Dane trying to find slow motion video of a bird landing.
That's what I was originally gonna do, but
Yeah.
then I don't know. I ended up just googling it instead.
Like a David Attenborough thing, like
Yeah.
natural history. We've got Brink. People who put milk in first shouldn't be allowed any. Should be allowed at any of the courses.
Not for tea.
Oh, controversial.
I'll clog your bag up if you put it in your tea first.
You clog your bag up. Yeah, isn't it something to do with the fat molecules in the milk?
Yeah.
Clogs up your tea bag. And if you're vegan, you wouldn't put milk in it. Oat milk all the way.
True. Very true.
See, I don't drink tea. It's coffee or nothing.
I've only recently got into coffee.
But you've got to brew it properly. Bean to cup.
Yeah.
No, don't buy none of this off the shelf Tesco malarkey. It needs to be roasted and ground within 6 weeks if you're putting it in your cup. Maximum 6 weeks. You want it if you can get it like literally straight off the tree and then roasted and grounded in your cup, then you're onto a winner.
Right.
Yeah, that snobbery of coffee. I should just do a Twitch stream on coffee.
You should. Just make your own YouTube account on like coffee beans.
Yeah.
They probably exist, right?
So, but yeah, it does. I think I drink far too much coffee. I have like 6 cups a day.
Oh. I can just feel my heart in my chest going when I have it. Because I'm quite an anxious person naturally, so my heart's always a little bit faster.
See, I'm one of them weird people who have coffee as the reverse effect. It helps me sleep. So.
That makes no sense. How can it help you sleep?
I think it's a chemical imbalance in the brain.
Is it because your heart's beating so fast that you're like exhausted?
Just pass out. It's like a hummingbird.
It's the only way.
Yeah. You go past the point of heart beating and anxious and caffeine to the other side, and it's just all spots.
Break through the veil, the coffee veil.
The coffee veil. So, a question for you: what age did you start drawing?
I don't know. Like, I just always remember drawing, on and off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I turned like 14, and I started really getting into it again, like every day. I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on and off for as long as I can remember before that, really.
Is that the same with painting, or did that come later, or?
No, I think I started painting when I was about 15 or 16 for watercolours. And then I felt like I was kind of like quite naturally good at it. I say so myself.
Well, we'd agree with you.
mean, that's
I
how
think
it's.
it's difficult, so difficult watercolors. It just hurts my brain. I just can't get my head around how you're doing it.
It's hard to do it whilst also talking. I feel like this is just going to end up terrible.
We've coined this phrase of pester while you paint through
Right.
doing the Twitch stream. So it's kind of like you're not the first artist to say how difficult it is to talk while you're painting.
It's not so much pestering, it's just multitasking. I can't I keep stopping and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, losing your thought process.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing?
So because you just said then, we're just talking about when you first started drawing and being quite young and stuff. How often do you draw?
If I'm good, every day, but not. It's hard though because you've got a lot of other things to do as an illustrator as well, apart from just painting. But you've got to spend a lot of time editing as well, and doing all the business stuff like the social media, and then obviously with uni work.
Yeah, that's going to be something you've got to factor in now, isn't it? That you've got to promote yourself, you've got to do social media posts, and you've got to keep that social media strategy going constantly.
Like, it is effort to try and make sure you do it every day, but it doesn't always happen. If I was good, it would be every day.
Because it's something that, I talk to students about all the time. I mean, people think that, the courses that we do, it's all heavily drawing and stuff. And a lot of people come to us and I really like animation, or I really like 3D modeling, or I really like doing this, that, and the other, but I can't draw.
Well, that's a basic skill that you kind of need to do everything else.
But I always ask them, how often do you draw? And it's like, I don't draw because I can't. And it's like, well, if you don't, you're never going to get better at it. It's kind of practice makes perfect.
Yeah. And I know I just said I had a natural talent for watercolors, but I wasn't good when I started out. Not professional good. It does take, everything takes practice if you want to be good at something. Mm-hmm. It is just doing it every day, or as often as you can.
In the chat, Christy, I just come back from dinner. Wow, it looks great.
Thank you.
So, have you got your reference image? Let's have a look at what your reference image looks like compared to your painting.
Hold on, there's a glare.
There you go. It's always interesting to see, the reference images compared to what it is you actually you're doing. Oh.
It's got a peculiar expression.
Will you put any background into that, or are you just going to paint the dog?
I think I'm just going to paint the dog for this one. Mm-hmm. I do like putting sort of suggestions of backgrounds in occasionally. Yeah. To bring out highlights in areas where highlights get lost around the edges of paintings. But for these dog ones, I think I'm just going to mostly, no background, so it's a bit more of a focus on the dog.
It's looking really good. And I suppose seeing people who have stayed with us from the beginning of the stream, seeing that process is really cool. But I suppose seeing it at the beginning, then going and then coming back and seeing the difference, that's always good. I mean, I always go on about, as teachers, we don't get to see this process. We just literally, we could see it in stages, and we might see you start with a sketch, and then the next thing it's halfway through, the next time it's 3/4 of the way through, the next time it's finished. We don't get to see this entire process.
Or you get to see the process of their improvement.
Yeah. Well, this is the other thing as well, especially with Instagrams and sketchbooks. That's why I was going about sketchbooks as well, because you get to see what it was like at the beginning, and then what you like towards the end of the sketchbook.
Yeah.
Which is always
I always find that.
I just moved the screen down a little bit because we were losing some of the head of the dog there, but just trying to frame it a little bit better if anyone's wondering why it's moving.
You're not paying attention, is it?
And Christy's put Laura is super talented. There you go.
Thank you.
There you
Was that Kirsty, did you say?
go. Christy Lowe.
Christy. Oh, yeah.
Who we found out is works in digital learning in the university.
Wow.
And you mentioned before that you're doing some castle stuff. So what are you working on apart from the dog stuff at the moment?
Well, I love painting architecture as well.
Okay.
And I wanted to start sort of painting in local castles because I love architecture, and the sort of medieval architecture is just like, I think we're really lucky to live around here because there's so many beautiful buildings. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's one of them parts of the world, isn't it? That you only have to like walk 5 minutes down the road and there's some sort of architectural masterpiece or whatever else, or castle or structure. I mean, you've got the aqueduct. Thomas Telford, knocking about a few years ago, decided to stick an aqueduct in the middle of a valley. It's it's quite impressive.
For years I've been saying to my the past year I've been saying that I wanted to do some castles.
Yeah.
And originally my intention was to do like a few different ones, but then because of COVID it was just getting there. And then it turned out like I kept putting this project off because we obviously get to negotiate our projects in the last year.
Yeah.
I was like, I really want to go there though and take the pictures myself. Then I finally got to do.
Would you ever take like an easel or anything and just go and sit on a side of a mountain and paint a castle, or did you always take the photographs and bring them home?
That's what I wanted to do with the castles, is I wanted to paint on location, and then like the only way I could get there was if I got a lift, and then we didn't have much time because I had to bring people with me for the lift, and then the weather factored into it as well. It ended up being a really hot day. So I struggled to get pictures actually. There's a lot of them with just like black castle with a really bright sky.
Lots of light behind it.
Yeah.
Well, silhouettes of castles is the new project.
Wow.
So you should have said, are they meant to do this? You should have done the Paul Hollywood on Bake Off when he goes, did you mean to do this? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely meant to take pictures of silhouettes of castles.
I do have a lot of silhouettes of Conway Castle now, I just don't know what to do.
This is it. But like, even just in the local area, you don't even have to go all the way to Conway. I mean, there's like 2 castles right close by. You got Crow Castle or Castle Dinishbran, and then you've got Chirk Castle as well.
Yeah, I do want to go to them as well. Eventually.
And then there's Rithing Castle. There's also Denby Castle. There's Caergurley. I think that's not far from you, actually, isn't it? Caergurley.
I'm not sure.
Or Caerwiggly, as some people call it.
It's like loads of castles in the area, but I can't remember which one's which. And if it's just ruins, it's kind of pointless. But if there's a little bit there to work with, it's quite good.
Yeah, Christy Lowe in the chat's put Harlech is quite nice as well.
Yeah, I think I went there when I was younger.
There's some really picturesque parts of North Wales when it comes down to that sort of coastline from Cricketh to Pwllheli and places like that as well, and Aberystwyth. That's going more sort of mid Wales, but you've got that entire coastline there and the North Wales coast where you've got so many. So that's your entire summer mapped out there. You need to get someone who's going to drive you around all these places.
No, I really love painting Wales. Like that's something I've really gone into. Like, and like people have really enjoyed seeing, because I did like a series on Wrexham as well.
Yeah.
And they were really popular in the sort of Wrexham Towns Matters page on Facebook and stuff. So I think I do want to do more paintings of Wales in the future, definitely. On my agenda.
Well, this is it. And the other thing as well is you've got a market there, haven't you? There's quite a lot of tourism. And there's quite a lot of art galleries as well in North Wales, or shops or souvenir shops and things like that. Yeah. Souvenir shops. So you're more of would you say you were more of a traditional artist than a digital artist?
Yeah, definitely.
But have you ever tried digital art?
I have, but it wasn't really for me.
Mhm.
I think it's because I just enjoy the mark making process a lot. And I know you can get the same effects digitally, but I just enjoy getting my hands dirty. And yeah, my digital art was just never as nice as my traditional art, from my perspective anyway.
Yeah, I think it's personal preference a lot of the time, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something, that's my thing. Like that's one of my areas, the digital side of things. But in terms of this, I would always, if I was going to buy art, I would probably buy sort of a watercolor piece that someone's done of a dog, rather than the sort of the digital version. That's not to say that some of the digital artists who do this sort of stuff,
No, there's definitely
aren't absolutely amazing.
Yeah, there's definitely a skill with digital art. Like, some of them are just so impressive.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Some of the artists we've got at the moment who are finishing this year, I'm trying to get them on the Twitch stream, and they're just not having any of it. But they're absolutely phenomenal digital artists. But they do people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's completely different.
I do love portraiture though. Something I do really enjoy, and I want to practice more of.
Yeah.
Because I'm really into fashion illustrations as well.
From what? Sorry.
Fashion illustrations.
Oh, okay, fashion.
Yeah, like one of my favorite artists. He does fashion illustrations, but they're really loose and makey, like what I do.
Yeah.
And just being able to nail the texture of clothing and the way it drapes and the furs and different things. It fascinates me. So that's something I'd really like to explore as well.
Fashion's never been something I've been interested in. As you can see from most of the Twitch streams, hoodie and jeans is my go-to thing on every day. I don't do shirt tie, nothing of that. But we went to London a few years ago, and my wife was saying, "Oh, I really want to go to this exhibition," and I was like, "Oh, it's a fashion exhibition. It's not going to be any good or anything like this." But we went, and it was Alexander McQueen.
Oh, yeah.
And it was absolutely fantastic. And I'd say he's probably one of my all-time favourite artists.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's absolutely... So the stuff that was in that exhibition, and the stuff that he did with clothes and textures, even human hair, it's just phenomenal. And it's not... It became less about clothes and more about the process and the art. Even down to the mechanical arms that were just firing paint out and stuff.
Wow.
Phenomenal. And the documentary, The Queen, is brilliant as well. It's just a great story, apart from obviously the ending. I won't ruin that, but I mean, coming from the housing streets of London to this sort of international fashion designer, what a story. It's just a tragic ending. And that's why we need to talk more about mental health and support each other.
Yeah.
It's a positive message at the end of that one. Christy in the chat's put, I used to live in Aberystwyth. I went to art college there. There we go. So.
Is that far from us? Because I'm not sure if I've been there.
Aberystwyth, I'm going to embarrass myself now, but I'd say it's probably an hour and 3/4 maybe. It's sort of West Wales coast.
Right.
Coastline, sort of Cardigan Bay area.
Cardigan Bay.
Yeah. They've got a castle.
Is it by the sea?
Yes, yeah. 2 hours by car, apparently. There you go. So, but yeah, it was not far off, hour and 3/4. 3 hours by train or bus. There we go. So yeah, it is right by the sea. And the castle, I think the castle overlooks the sea as well.
Oh, nice.
But I could be getting that confused with Cricket Castle. But yeah.
I know, that's the thing. I used to go on holiday to different places in Wales. Some of them are so beautiful, but I can't remember which one was which. And the names are all they don't stay in my head.
But it's such a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
The Welsh government have said this year about, try not to travel, don't go abroad if you don't have to, go to Wales on holiday. And absolutely, I mean, we went somewhere other than Wales for a holiday, because we're absolutely spoilt with the Welsh coastline, the beaches. I mean, we go to Newquay, which is mid Wales, and it's won awards for the beaches for years. And we went somewhere else and it happened to be on the east coast of the country over in England, and we were just like, well, where's the beach? It's kind of, we're so spoiled with having such picturesque places. Christy loves put, I went on a staycation there last September. Yeah, absolutely. It's like I say, such a beautiful part of the world. And it's mad because like people I know that work in Liverpool and the cities and stuff like that, and they come here just to do like a guest lecture or something like that. They're like, they're absolutely amazed that we look out of a window and we see trees and grass. It's kind of, and you take it for granted.
That's something that I was like surprisingly shocked about, because we've been going for walks during lockdown like everyone has, and it's just hard work. But there's so much beautiful. So much beautiful things around here, like where I live, but everything's uphill or downhill.
Everything's up a hill.
Yeah. And I'm just used to flat land.
Yeah, Chester's quite a flat area, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of trees, lots of grass, lots of animals.
I know, it's lovely. It's like in every direction you go, there's something. There's like a lake or a forest, or there's like a bike park, or just like a fishing area. It's mountains. Crazy. Well, crazy to me anyway, because I'm not used to it.
Someone jumped in the chat. NVI and hey, they put hey in the chat. Hey to you. Thank you for joining us. There we go. So we're rattling through these questions, asking about traditional and digital, and the next question I've got for you about in terms of doing your illustrations and stuff. We talked a little bit about the palettes and stuff, but in terms of the brushes that you're using, is that a specialist kind of brush that you've got going on there?
Well, what I prefer, price doesn't really matter. I tend to buy cheaper ones, but as long as they have a thick base and a thin tip, like that's what I gravitate towards, because you can hold a lot of colour and a lot of like pigment in the base, but still get that really super thin line.
Yeah.
And then if you press on hard, you can get like a proper big wash of colour as well. So, I mean, these ones I've got are from Sostrine Green, which is actually just like a homeware store, but they do sell art supplies as well.
Okay.
And they're really cheap, like £2 a pop.
Yeah.
But they are such good quality. Like I don't really have any fallout or anything with them. So I'd highly recommend those. Them two are from there. They don't have like a wide selection, but the ones they do have are really great. This one's really good as well, like I just showed. I think this is a Japanese one as well.
Ah, right, okay.
But Japanese art supplies are like, they're just great because they obviously have a rich history of like ink and watercolor paintings, yeah. And then I love these little fan brush ones as well, because you can get some really interesting marks, and it's really great for leaves on trees and fur, and getting like a series of lines all going in the same direction basically. So they're the ones I've been using the most at the moment.
So if you were to say to somebody who's watching this now that they wanted to start watercolors or having a go, what would you recommend them buying?
Don't buy ones from the works.
Don't buy ones from the works. As you can tell, we're not sponsored by the works this evening.
Not for the works. But yeah, they just, if the bristles are falling out, like I think I've got some that were given to me, and these are really cheap. They're just they're not great for watercolor just because they do shed a lot.
Yeah.
But they can be good for mark making. So it depends what kind of painting you're doing.
Right. If
you're doing really intricate, fussy work, then you want one from like that's slightly good quality. You don't want to spend a fortune, but
so around about £2 a brush or more.
£2 a brushes, you know.
£2 a brush. And how many brushes do I need? If I wanted to start this right now, I'm going to recreate what you're doing right now. How many brushes do I need?
Well, you need like a decent size brush. This size, I'd say. And the thin tip and the thick base is just brilliant. You don't want just thin brushes, because then you're going to have to keep getting more pigment like every brush stroke you do. And it's not ideal, because then you get like really terrible marks. Because you can just tell when someone's done that, because you can just see where the paint's running out and then they've reapplied. And Yeah, a lot of people do that on Instagram, and it really bugs me. So you want slightly bigger brushes to what you think. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Some good tips.
Yeah. So you want you do want a little one as well.
Yeah.
And a medium and a large, I would say, and then a fan brush. They're what I prefer.
Do they come like that, or do you have to sort of make it a fan brush?
Yeah, they come like that.
Okay.
Because you can kind of like dab them. You've probably seen Bob Ross do this before. And he'll dab them using the tip of the brush.
Yeah.
And
they've got a stream of Bob Ross. They stream every weekend. It gets loads of viewers.
Exactly.
Just all episodes. You broke up a little bit there. What did you say, sorry?
He does have some good tips on using brushes. Because you don't have to use them the way you think always.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's really interesting, really good. There's a couple of things in the chat. We've got I'm going to say Envy. It's Envy. They do some graffiti. They're asking if we can rate their graffiti from 1 to 10, and you can send the pictures in Discord or Instagram. We have got a Discord. If you check out the about bit on Twitch, you can join our Discord. By all means, post it. There's an artist share group there, and people will give you tips and rate your images and things like that for you as well. So head over there and check that out. Christy Lowe's got to go. Got a dash. Have a good night all. Nice chatting. There you go.
Nice to see you, Kristen.
There you go.
I'll speak to you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's always good when people join in the conversation and ask us questions and stuff. It just makes the stream better because it's more interactive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're trying to help people out. So if you're new to painting or you're not sure how to start off or what to do, then it's always good to ask tips and stuff. There you go. So some people joining our Discord there as well. If you heard that beep. So, what's your favourite aspect about working on illustrations?
I think I just really enjoy when you see a final piece after I've taken all my masking fluid off and everything, and then it kind of comes to life.
Okay.
I would say, because at the moment it's just painting, but then when you see the highlights in the eyes, and it's like the characters there. If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I really enjoy that part.
So does the masking fluid just peel off?
Yeah, it just rubs off.
Oh, okay, so what, just a rubber, or you just sort of...
No, just with your finger, or...
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I never even realised that you do that with masking fluid.
Not all watercolour artists do, because some people don't like it. I don't know why, but I think maybe it's because it's hard to get a really thin line on there sometimes. But if you work larger like I do most of the time, that's not really a problem.
Okay. That's interesting, working on the highlights first.
Yeah, it can be a bit confusing, can't it, for some people?
Yeah, because it's kind of like usually I would put highlights in last, and tattoo artists always put their white in. Or not, I don't know if that's always the case, but every video I've seen, all people doing it always seem to do the white highlights afterwards.
Yeah, I think when I had tattoos done, they've always done it after. Yeah. I mean, I usually put highlights in after with like an acrylic white or a gel pen, but I can never quite get it white enough.
Okay.
And a lot of watercolor artists recommend like masking it, basically.
Yeah.
There are times when I will go in with white paint if I want to get like the texture through, or if I want there to be sort of like, for the texture, basically. Yeah.
So we've asked you your favourite aspect. What's your least favourite aspect?
Like just of painting, or of just being an illustrator in general?
Just being an illustrator.
I think it's people don't always see the value of your art sometimes, and that can be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, it's that's hard for any artist, isn't it? It's that kind of you always get that one client who's like, how much?
I think
Or,
people just don't realise how long things take
yeah.
and how much things cost, and
Or you agree a price and then they try and knock you down afterwards.
yeah, or they just say that that's too expensive, and it's like, well, this takes me ages, and like the amount of training that I've got as well. Like for what about like you won't say that to a plumber, would you? Like, and they've been to college and got
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, you know, you've got your degree and everything else, and you know, it's kind of you've worked hard for it. You put your time, your effort, your money into it as well.
Yeah.
But I think just trying to do that so that it's, and they try and knock you down after because they know you can't sell it to somebody else.
I know.
That's the worst one. I think that's the worst thing.
I mean, it tends to happen with commissions more than with prints, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's about experience.
Well, this is it. I think, yeah, it's kind of, you tend to live and learn, don't you, with commissions. Prints are so much better because if people don't like it, they don't buy it. If they don't like the price, they don't buy it. But commissions can be so tricky.
Yeah. It's just the whole negotiating process is the bit that I don't like.
In the chat, Golden Guy 9 has highlighted their message and put "You're so good" with a smiley face emoji.
Yeah.
So what I've got one of the questions I've got: what style of drawing do you use? Would you say that what kind of? Yeah, I mean, how would you answer that?
I'd say realistic. Yeah. I do work always from a reference image, and yeah, I just. Like, even when I used to try and draw from my imagination, it would always still be quite realistic. Like, I just naturally draw things how they are.
Yeah.
I don't know how people have like their own style, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, when you think some people can just sort of sit there and draw some fantastical creature straight off their mind, or straight out of their mind.
Blows my mind.
You know, it's kind of, it is interesting. And what are your influences when you come to do things like this? Or who are your influences? Is there a particular artist, person, genre, style, movies, videos?
I feel like I'm inspired by everything, to be honest. I love, like I said, watching YouTubers. I really enjoy Minnie Small on YouTube. She does a lot of watercolors, but she does like all different kinds of things. Holly Exley on YouTube as well. Who else? Oh, my favorite illustrator is Sarah Maycock, and she does like very, very similar style to me, but better because she's been doing it for longer. And she gets the kind of work I'd like to get as well, sort of like editorial stuff and packaging design, that sort of thing.
That's certainly something to work towards, isn't it? It's offering those services. Because it's something else that we have quite locally. We have a enterprise hub, which is kind of like an incubator space for startup companies, and they're always looking for packaging, logos, things like that. So it's certainly worth sort of approaching people like that to check that out.
Work there. Yeah. I've never actually gone in myself and asked about it. I'm going to in the future though. Definitely.
Yeah. It's certainly worth checking out. Anyone that can give you free business advice is worth knowing, isn't it? It's kind of...
Yeah.
Because then that kind of thing can be quite expensive, especially if you've got like a business consultant or whatever else. But if something like Business Wales is offering it for free, it's like, take it.
Exactly, yeah.
So in terms of the kind of stuff that you're doing, you mentioned package design and editorials and stuff like that. What do you prefer to do?
I'd say I prefer just doing sort of paintings for myself and then like selling them as prints or hanging them in galleries. Like that's something I want to do in the future as well, sort of locally. I've had a few different people sort of approach me about it, but obviously everywhere's been closed, so...
Yeah, of course. So what, you've had people approach you for galleries as well?
Yeah, a few different shops.
Yeah.
There's a couple of shops that are opening up soon.
Mm-hmm.
They both approached me in the past year, and then there's the gallery, Twig, that I've been in contact with as well.
Great. So how would people find out about your exhibitions? Is that something you post on Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got any self yet. Well, I'm definitely planning to in the future. I will put it on my Instagram and Facebook.
So it's worth people following you on Instagram to find out when that's going to happen, so they can head on down to those galleries and check you out and support you and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking about stop motion animation before, and one of the things I really liked about our course is a couple of years ago they had we had creative futures every year, and they would have guest speakers in, and one of them was a stop motion animator, and it was just like fascinating. And she had like all the things that she'd made, and like she showed the clips that she'd made and stuff. And it's like that's what I really enjoyed about the course as well, is being able to actively ask questions to people who are quite like successful in the industry.
And other disciplines as well, because I mean that's it's a completely different area for you, I suppose. But being able to ask questions to that person.
Yeah, I've been able to meet like loads of people I never thought I'd be able to meet.
Mm-hmm. So it's something that we seem to be quite good at, is sort of corralling all our friends from industries and different industries and bringing them in to talk to students. Because we have a Creative Futures guest speaker program. I can't remember how many we've done this year, but there's quite a few. They've been doing pretty much something like 2 a week for 12 weeks, so sometimes even more. So that's when it's probably around about 30 speakers from like theatre production right through to ceramics, jewellery, people who've worked on the game industry. We had one talk from a guy who worked on Marvel films.
We did.
And he came. He was. It was. What was it? It was something like breakfast time for him because he was in Canada, and it was the end of the day for us. It was kind of strange, but it was really good. You know, walking through, when he walks to work, he walks past like people like George Lucas and stuff. It's kind of crazy to think that then he comes and talks to our students.
The most surreal one was meeting Charlie Adlard. Adlard, is it, or Adlard?
Adlard.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was just. He did like a talk in the hall, didn't he? And I got to speak to him afterwards. It's great.
Well, he's an actual fellow for the university, so he's actually associated with the university. And for those who are not sure who he is, he does he was part of the team who did the Walking Dead comics, and he also writes. I think now he wrote Fear the Walking Dead, and he also wrote the new one that's just come out as well. It's on Amazon. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's another Walking Dead related show. But yeah, it's from Shrewsbury, of all places. You think it's kind of like, he's right up there with Robert Kirkman and Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus.
And also because they have the convention here. Well, they used to, didn't they? I think they've changed it this year.
The Wales Comic Con.
Yeah, because they have the Comic Con here as well. We get to meet like loads of people.
Yeah, I think Ron Perlman's turned up, Keith Sutherland.
Yeah, and all the guys from like Red Dwarf and Art.
Yeah.
But just being able to ask people who are like in the arts can still give you advice on things that you wouldn't think of, like on business and it's great. I don't know how much more I can do on this because
stretching it out.
I have been, yeah. How much longer have we got? 5 to. When do you finish?
Sorry, I was coughing then. We've got half an hour left. We've done an hour and a half, so really it's up to you. If you pay when you finished, we can wrap things up, or I've got a couple more questions for you. We've also got a question, something in the chat as well from Brink. We've got Comic Salopia in Shrewsbury. It's worth checking out when it opens up again.
Yeah, I think did Dan set that up? Our tutor? Dan?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he helped.
more than likely will have some sort of involvement in it because he's from Shrewsbury as well, isn't he? And I know they do a comic festival there as well. Or that's probably part of what that is. It's Charlie Adler's baby. Dan is probably involved too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know they were doing some stuff because they've got the Darwin Centre there, haven't they? Or Darwin Shopping Centre, and they were doing some stuff in there as well.
Right.
Like an exhibition of his work and stuff. So yeah, absolutely, check that out.
I've been meaning to go. Yeah.
Love a good Comic Con. Can't go wrong. So, in terms of we've asked you all about your sort of artwork. We've asked you about how you got into this. We've even seen you almost finish this painting and drag it out as well to try and get 2 hours out of it. So, what are your main interests and hobbies, or like TV shows, movies, things like that? What are you interested? What are you into?
I read a lot.
Okay.
I've got like over 1,000 books in my house. So that's something I'm really passionate about.
What's your favourite genre of book?
Changes a lot. At the moment, I've been reading a lot of horror. I'm reading
Okay.
The Exorcist at the moment.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
That's the main book I'm reading anyway.
Yeah.
Tend to have a few on the go. What else am I interested in? Oh, I sew a lot as well, and crochet and knit.
Oh, right, okay, that's interesting. We
I'm
found
making a dress. Yeah.
you're making a what, sorry?
Making a dress at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Which is nearly finished. And I'm also cross stitching.
Mm-hmm.
It's like gothic piece as well. And I've been making patches. I'm a very crafty person. Is the answer to that.
We could obviously tell. I mean, you've sort of obviously got a passion for art and a passion for making.
Yeah, I do.
And it clearly comes across in like your Instagram and stuff and the work that you've done. I guess my hat joke in the chat has put, can't believe how quickly you've worked and putting that together.
Actually, out as well.
It's what, sorry? You've dragged it out as well. Yeah. So there you go. It's not bad for an hour and a half, and it's dragged out, so possibly an hour.
And it feels a little bit overworked because I've been like distracted and talking.
Yeah.
I'm not paying full attention, but usually I'm a bit like less fiddly.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
So what happens now with this piece?
I'll let it dry, and then I'll remove the masking fluid,
Okay.
and then I will scan it. And when you scan images, they don't always look exactly how they look on a paper, because you usually get a lot of the sort of texture of the paper coming up in the scan, where the lights kind of hit the pockets of the paper. So I will just like edit that away, make sure the colours are accurate, and then I'll make it into a print to sell.
Oh wow, okay. Do you ever sell the originals?
I do, but none of them are on my Etsy at the moment.
So is there a price difference in the print compared to the original?
Oh yeah. I think artists don't like to actually part with their originals a lot of the time.
No, I get that. It's kind of this is the question I was asking to fine artists when you've painted something and you've got this huge canvas of something that you put blood, sweat, and tears into, and then someone comes along. Yeah, someone comes along in a gallery and goes, "I'm having that," and it's in their office or it's in their home or whatever else. It's how difficult is it to let go of that piece?
Yeah. But it does give me a lot of joy as well, like knowing something I made in someone's house and they're appreciating it every day.
Yeah. Absolutely. So how long will that take to dry?
Not long. I do have a hairdryer here. I just don't know whether I should put it on or not.
Yeah, that might make for interesting viewing. Just sitting
It
here.
doesn't look that wet though, so I don't think it'll be long.
All right. So, I mean, I'm sort of up to the limit of questions, I think. So I think we finished early. This is probably the earliest stream we've ever finished.
Really?
Yeah, we usually go for about 2 hours, but I think it's been interesting. It's been quite different seeing watercolor. I mean, it's something that we've not done on the channel before, which has really been good. Really been interesting to see, and it's something that I've wanted to get on for a while as well, because it's such a unique way of working. But where you've
surprised you haven't had anyone doing watercolor.
It's what, sorry?
I'm surprised you haven't had anyone doing watercolor.
It's been all digital or acrylic.
Oh, right.
And markers is another one we've had as well. So I think next week we've got another illustrator on next week. Haley from level 5, and I think the week after we'll have Dan Jones back because he's just done a game level, so we'll be looking at some environment art with him because he came on for like the second stream and he did sketching. So he actually does pencil sketching, so now he's going to come back and do some show us the actual game art stuff that he does as well. So there you go. Is that some of the masking fluid coming off now?
It is.
There you go.
It's really pixelated on the screen there, but in real life it looks good.
I like that. In real life it looks great.
Guarantee you.
IRL. Hashtag IRL. Well, I will, as soon as you post that on your Instagram, we will definitely reshare it on our Art Design Wales platform, which I will post a link to now in the chat. So if you're not following us already, certainly follow us. Check out Laura's Instagram. What we tend to do around about this time when we come to the end of a stream is we raid somebody else. So we've currently got about 9 people watching. So what we'll do is check out somebody else's stream. I've got some sort of error going on here. There we go. Just going to load up Twitch and check out who's on that we follow and fire over some people. We've actually got there's somebody streaming at the moment. I'm just going to check it out just so that the adverts, we lose the adverts. Every time I go to raid somebody, there's always an advert on and we have to sit there watching it for half an hour. So kiss my jokes, but thank you for doing the stream. Absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing this with us today, Laura. And once you're out in the big wide world, certainly don't forget about us, and we'd be interested to get you back on later on. Just to get you back on and see how you're getting on in the world of work and stuff like that as well. And check out the artist in residence stuff. We've got a few people now coming into the chat saying thanks for sharing. What you've produced this evening has been absolutely amazing. I can't believe how fast you've worked. Can't believe how amazing it's come out, and I'm keen to see it on the Instagram page as soon as you post that in real life, of course. What we'll do, I'm looking at person who's streaming at the moment. He was a 2D animator, so we'll give the animation lot some love this evening. I will throw up the end screen in a second and we'll raid that channel. As in true fashion of what we do, we've got some emotes set up that have been created by some of the students. There's a raid emote. I'm going to stick that on now and I'll show you what it looks like. And when we do go over there, as if you just spam their chat with the raid emote. There we go. It's in there. Okay, right, let's do this. Thank you once again for joining us. We'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.